A hell of a journey. Freddie Burns' honest reckoning with a colorful rugby career. Few professional rugby careers capture the sport's chaos, brilliance, and cruelty quite like Freddie Burns. Speaking candidly on the For the Love of Rugby podcast this week, the former England fly half offered a raw and unfiltered assessment of a career he described simply as a hell of a journey. At 35, Burns is still playing, now with Dinamo Bucharest in Romania, but he is reflective enough to understand how his story will be remembered. It is not one defined by longevity in an England shirt or by statistical dominance at the international level, but by moments. Unforgettable, controversial, brilliant, and sometimes painfully human. From last-minute drop goals to costly mistakes played out under the brightest lights, Burns' career has been anything but forgettable. From Bath beginnings to a life on the road born in Bath. Burns' rugby journey began with Oldfield Old Boys before he entered the Bath Rugby Academy system. Early promise soon became clear, but it was a move across the West Country to Gloucester that would shape much of his professional identity. The gifted fly half with soft hands, vision, and a gambler's instinct, Burns quickly became known as a maverick, capable of unlocking defenses 1 minute and making costly errors the next. It was a reputation that followed him throughout his career, both a blessing and a burden. Since turning professional, Burns has worn the colors of an extraordinary number of clubs. Long spells at Gloucester, Leicester Tigers and Bath were punctuated by overseas adventures in New Zealand with the Highlanders, stints in Japan, and now a late career chapter in Romania. Along the way, he has amassed close to 3,000 career points, a remarkable achievement by any standard. Yet numbers alone do not explain Freddie Burns, the moment that defined him. For all the twists and turns of his club career, one moment will forever define Burns' place in English rugby folklore. The last-minute drop goal that sealed Leicester Tigers' Premiership title in 2022. It was a moment of pure drama and pure Burns. Not technically perfect, he later admitted it was shinned, but it sailed between the posts regardless, delivering Tigers one of the most dramatic finals victories in Premiership history. That kick ensured Burns' legacy would endure, regardless of what followed. "I'd be lucky to have a couple of good moments," Burns said modestly on the podcast. "Obviously, my debut beating the All Blacks was massive, and then the drop goal that we talked about. For a player often judged on what he wasn't, those moments ensured he would always be remembered for something unforgettable at England. Promise, reality, and acceptance. Burns was once tipped as a future England star. Comfortable at both fly half and fullback, he possessed the skill set to trouble any defense on his day. He went on to earn 5 caps for England, including appearances against the All Blacks. No small achievement by any measure. But his international career never took off in the way many had predicted. Burns is brutally honest about why. "I'm very aware of what I am, and I know what I'm not," he said. "I'll back myself against anyone on my day. I also know that I probably wasn't consistently good enough to be like a Foz or a 40, a 100 cap player." That self-awareness is striking. In an era dominated by Owen, Farrell, and George Ford, fly halves defined by relentless consistency, tactical control, and trust, Burns' mercurial nature ultimately worked against him. "You look at Foz and 40, Burns explained. "They were always in a different class in terms of consistency. I was more of a maverick. I'd have some great moments, but I'd have some *team moments too." He knew the window was narrow. "I thought I had a very short window to get my caps in," he admitted. "I knew 40 and Foz would come through and dominate the shirt, so it was slightly different for me. No bitterness, just perspective." Perhaps the most compelling aspect of Burns' reflection is the absence of bitterness. Many players who brush the edges of international rugby struggle with regret, but Burns has found peace with his England story. "I'd never want to be that bitter ex-rugby player," he said. "I was at the England game the other week against the All Blacks, and yeah, you can't help but feel a little envious. You think, maybe I could still be here. Then comes the perspective, but I'd rather be thankful for the 5 caps that I've got than bitter about the ones that I didn't." It is a refreshingly mature outlook, one shaped by years of experience, success, failure, and survival in a brutal professional environment. A career of extremes. Burns' name will forever be associated with rugby's most dramatic extremes. He has kicked match-winning drop goals and made high-profile errors. He has celebrated tries that never were, only to have the ball stripped from his hands. He has produced moments of audacity that thrilled fans and lapses that drew criticism. Few players have lived so publicly with the consequences of risk-taking. I've probably made every mistake you can make in a game, Burns laughed, but I've also had the highs of some amazing moments. That, he believes, is the price of playing on instinct at a global game. A full life, Burns' willingness to travel speaks volumes about his love for the game. Playing in New Zealand, Japan, and now Romania has given him experiences far beyond what most players encounter. I played down in New Zealand with the Highlanders, played in Japan, and now I'm in Romania, he said. When it comes to retiring, I'll be able to sit back and say, God, that was a hell of a ride. Importantly, Burns feels he has contributed everywhere he's gone. I've contributed to those teams, which I'm proud of, he said. I'd always feel like I left a little bit out there, but not through want of trying. How will Freddie Burns be remembered? So how good was Freddie Burns? On his day, as good as anyone. At his worst, vulnerable to the risks he willingly embraced. He was never the metronomic controller that Farrell and Ford became, but he brought unpredictability, courage, and personality, qualities rugby often claims to cherish. There is no retirement date yet. And if history is any guide, Burns won't slip quietly into the background when the time comes. His career may not have followed the path many predicted, but it followed one unmistakably his own. And as Burns himself seems to understand better than anyone, that alone makes it worthwhile.